Hi, my loves. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the TRIBEvibe. It's our last day with happiness. That sounds so morbid. It's our last session on happiness this week. But like I said yesterday, we're going to come back and do some more happiness talk on another week because you can never get too much happiness. So, how's everybody's week been going? It's almost the end of the week. Is everybody excited for the weekend? It's Juneteenth. You know, we got to take a little time to recognize Juneteenth. If you don't know a lot about Juneteenth, I suggest you go Google it. It was when the very last slaves were able to find out that they were actually free. It was like 2.5 years after Emancipation Proclamation was signed that some slaves were still not knowing. They were still working on a plantation for free and not knowing that they were actually free. So, it's definitely a time to celebrate as a country. It's a big change for us. And, we ain't going to go into all that. But if you don't know enough about Juneteenth, go Google it. It's a ton of information out there. If you do know and if you don't know, it's okay. But take the opportunity to celebrate this weekend. And if you see or hear some random fireworks and you're confused because it's not 4th of July, they set them off for Juneteenth because it just got recognized as national holiday. So anyway, that is totally not what we're talking about today. But it was on my spirit, so I made sure I shared it. But anyway, so today we're going to conclude, like I said, our week on happiness. And we're going to be talking about some good tips and tricks that you can use to exercise some more happiness in your life. So is everybody ready to go? All right, let's get into it. So yesterday we talked about what is happiness and kind of like the theory of happiness and people's understanding of happiness, because obviously happiness is relative, and so they don't have like a super duper firm definition of it, but I think we've got like a general consensus on it. Excuse me, y'all. Yesterday I forgot to tell you this really interesting fact that I have found about happiness. Happiness, not really, more like optimism being a predisposed thing. So like basically genetically speaking, you have a certain amount of receptors. Y'all know I get into things and I'll be trying to figure out how far down the rabbit hole should we go. So oxytocin, which is a hormone, is like one of the ones you hear about it usually like childbirth and stuff like that. They'll talk about it. It's like one that's kind of like release for like reduction of pain and to increase like your social connection and stuff like that. I know we talked about that in a previous episode when we were kind of talking about what's the other word? What's the other word, y'all? Oh Lord, it escaped out my brain. It's too close to oxytocin. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. One of the neurotransmitters we was talking about, it almost came back to me. One of the neurotransmitters we were talking about with happiness. I'm gonna say endorphins. I don't know if that's what it's almost Friday. For me, it's Friday, so my brain is off. It's like, girl, we don't need to give them all them words. That was supposed to be yesterday. That's why you do it yesterday. Anyway. But, so, anyway, we talked about that previously on another episode about how those things can actually increase like your connection to other people, and that makes you feel happy, right? And so oxytocin is one of those ones that does that. And they found that when they was doing their good studying, they found that people actually are predisposed to a certain number of those receptors. So if you don't have a whole lot of receptors, obviously it doesn't matter how much of the chemical or hormone is there, your receptors it needs to bind. So if you don't have a lot of receptors, then it can't bind. So then you can't get the full effects of it. And so some people have more receptors, some people have less receptors. And there also may be some other things that are interfering with the ability to bind. We're not going to go there either. So don't quote me on that's the only reason. Some people may have other things that are interfering with the chemical's ability to bind to the receptor that makes them not be able to get the full effects of it, right? Crazy. Okay, so you would think like, okay, so does that mean that everybody in my family was Oscar the Grouch and now that means I have to be Oscar the Grouch? No, it just means that you may have to work a little harder than somebody whose family is not full of grouches, right? Because you may genetically be predisposed to grouchiness. But the silver lining of it is, and we're going to talk about silver linings today because we're talking about being happy. But the silver lining of it is that even if you're predisposed to not, to be a little grumpier, a little grouchier, you like to get hangry, even if you're predisposed to that, these tips and tricks that we're talking about today can actually make more difference if you practice them than your predisposition to being grouchy. So I said all that just because it was a fun fact, but not because it actually really matters. Because if you practice the things you need to do to make sure that you're ensuring that you are cognizant and presently aware of the things that are going to make you happy and strengthen those pathways in the brain, then it'll override all of those grumpies. I don't know what to call them. It'll override all that. Okay. All right. I meant to tell you guys that yesterday and I didn't get a chance to. So I said, let me make sure I jump in and talk about that today. And so to spin off of that, that's kind of what we were talking about when we were talking about like negative thinking and things like that. You can kind of be predisposed to it or conditioned to think negatively, right? Because you're around a lot of people that do so, and that's just what you know to do. So we want to make sure that we're using these tips and tricks so that we can kind of rewrite that. You know what I talked to you before about booby trapping, like set up booby traps in your life so that you can fall into good habits. And so this is one of those things. If you notice you find yourself doing a whole lot of negative thinking, or glass is always half empty, or it always seems to be raining on your parade, then you need to do a little bit more of this than some of the other people. All right. So our first tip is to smile. Yeah, I know I get on here every time and I don't know if y'all can see me because sometimes the thing says it's live and I don't know exactly when it comes on. But if you can see me before it comes on, I'll be over here like this. I mean, it really does just start the tone of what I'm about to do going forward. And then too, I'm not looking crazy when the camera comes on and y'all looking at me. I guess that could kind of be crazy too. But it sets the tone for me. So you guys know I was telling you about like a couple weeks ago about having different clothes on, things like that make me happy. But just the simple act of smiling at other people, because smiles are contagious. You smile at other people, usually they smile at you back. And so you just, working, y'all said yesterday, cooking with grease. You working in your good vibes when you smiling and people smiling at you back. So that's just something simple that you could do. We talked about faking it till you make it yesterday. That's a simple fake it till you make it thing. It's just being aware of how often are you smiling at people. And like we said, it's contagious. So that's a good, easy, simple thing that you could start doing today. Okay? If I'm smiling at you, so you can smile at me back. All right, see, we practiced. Good job. All right, so the next thing that you could do is gratitude. And we talked about that yesterday. And we talked about gratitude a couple weeks ago. And I still am going to encourage you again to go on there and watch the week of gratitude if you haven't had a chance to do it yet, because there was a lot of good information in the gratitude week about how to practice gratitude. But gratitude is one of the big things because it is just like the act of focusing on the things that make you happy. And that's what we're trying to do when we're increasing our happiness, is we want to focus on the things that we already know make us happy. Piece of cake, piece of pie, right? Okay, and then also, kind of under that same umbrella is, you guys know there's, I don't remember what episode it was, but I was like, you got to celebrate yourself. And I was like, it's a celebration. And it was when we were talking about grace, but I don't remember. I think it was in the week on how to let things go. But sometimes it's easy to focus on the things that we feel like we did wrong or we didn't show up in our best selves, right? And so we kind of got a little regret. And sometimes we spend too much time focusing on that and not focusing on the things that we did show up the way we needed to and how we wanted to. Or that other people showed up for us how we wanted to. Sometimes we don't take a pause to focus on that. It's easy to focus on the other half of it. And so I want you to focus on your strengths. So when you do things, everybody isn't great at the same thing. And that's just for facts. And so sometimes we feel like, and I have to remind myself of this all the time too, because sometimes what I'll do is I'll get in the trap of, it feels so natural for me to do a certain thing. But some of those things, they didn't come naturally to us. Like some things we really had to work on to be able to master them. And so when you have done all that work, then what you look like sitting around not celebrating yourself? You don't want to turn into a narcissist, or be an egotistical jerk or something like that. But, within yourself, you need to celebrate when you're accomplishing things, even if it's something that you do on a regular basis. Say, for instance, you struggle with getting up on time or going to sleep on time, and you find that you start to do that. Oh shoot. Y'all said my brain was going to do it again. Here it goes again. Can't remember what week we talked about that, but we talked about reinforcing the habits that you're trying to make. I think it was on Letting It Go week. Reinforcing the habits that you're trying to make by celebrating the benefits or the accomplishment of doing those, the new task, right? When you actually do the new habit, you want to celebrate with yourself because it actually reinforces it. It makes you feel good that you do it, which means you're more likely to come back and do it again. Some of the things are simple and they sound so silly, but when you really start to practice them over and over again and they start to become a habit, next thing you know it, you just working and flowing and everything. Because like we talked about yesterday, everything is kind of like, working together. They're different parts of the same system. So, honey, celebrate yourself. Focus on those strengths that you have and the things that make you your best self. Okay? All right. The next tip is meditation. And if y'all aren't here with me now, then I know you guys have been on here for every episode. And if you happen to miss an episode, you went back and watched it. That's me. I'm speaking it over the situation. But meditation, of course, we had a whole week on meditation and the benefits of meditation and how I don't want to just keep talking about how great meditation is, but y'all know I got to subscribe to the meditation. You know I'm on that bandwagon because clearly I'm on here hosting a guided meditation series every week because I believe in the junk, okay? So I'm not going to go in depth into why meditation is great for happiness. You got to go watch the week. I'm giving that to you, giving that task to you to do. I already did my work. You need to do your work. So go watch the week on meditation to hear some more interesting facts and things of that nature as to how happiness and meditation related. Trust me when I say they are. If you don't believe me, ask Google. All right, so the next tip is journal about happy things. And I think we talked about that a little bit before. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday too about kind of like when I was saying fake it till you make it and like to reflect on positive things. Journaling is a form of reflecting, right? And so when you do that, you're having to recall the events. So you're literally, going through your head so that you can write it down. You got to go through your head and remember, kind of relive. And we talked about this yesterday, how your brain can't really tell the difference. I mean, yes, your brain does understand the difference between a memory, you recalling the memory, and an actual event happening. But in regards to like your happiness and how things factor into your level of happiness, your brain can't tell the difference between you actually experiencing an event and you recalling the event. If you're telling somebody about it, if you're writing it down, whatever, just sitting and reminiscing on it, your brain can't tell the difference. So life hack number 8,275 that I've given you over the last several weeks, or at least I guess I should say last several months. We've been doing this for a while. Double down on them happiness times, honey. Double down on the joyous times. Not to say that you can't always find some good examples, but sometimes we all know that there are some examples that are really, really, really good. And when you get one of them real good, juicy examples of happiness and joy, double down, triple down, tell everybody write it down 7 times, spend all day thinking about it, spend the next day thinking about it. Okay, because there's enough opportunities for you not to be mulling over something that makes you happy, okay? So let's mull over something that makes us happy rather than mulling over something that don't make us happy. All right. Our next tip is exercise. We talked about exercise what week was that? I'm going to have to start keeping a list or either stop trying to recall what week it was on a Thursday because the Thursday sessions, my brain just don't want to work with me. One of the times, just believe me, because I can't give you no facts. One of the times, we were talking about exercise and like implementing that. I think we talked about it during meditation. But we talked about it and about how exercising makes you happy. And I'm going to see it's the neurotransmitter again that I'm not going to get. Endorphins. Okay. What are the neurotransmitters that's released during those times? Dopamine? Y'all don't at me. Don't at me. And I'm gonna stop guessing. One of the transmitters that gets released when you exercise that make you happy. And so, if you're doing that in combination with other things, then it's just going to increase the happiness. All right. That one was fairly simple outside of me not being able to remember which neurotransmitter I was trying to talk about. And y'all know I love to tell y'all, I'm telling you all the facts so you could be out here in these streets talking about what you know about. And I ain't got it today. Anyway. Our next tip and trick is life hack for happiness is having good friends, keeping good people around you. Y'all know I get to these points in times where I have to pick and choose what we about to say. And it's not me picking and choosing what I have to say because I feel like it's a type of way. But, I don't want to set y'all up for failure. So our week is about happiness. It is not about the circle you keep around you. So we'll have a week on the circle you keep around you so we can talk about this extensively. But you guys know, and we've all heard this many a times, and I think I've even said it on here a time or two, that you are, a reflection combination of the, closest people around you, 6 to 10 people around you. You can look at them and see kind of what's going on in your space. And it's because we were talking about, faking until you make it, how your brain can't tell the difference of how, not sitting in a state of like negativity and trying to stay in a state of positivity and things like that. The cultures and all those things, they all very much play into what happens. Because remember we were talking about before that you have higher level thoughts, and then you have a lot of stuff that happens in your subconscious mind that you're not really cognizant of and don't have a whole lot of control over. That's why we practice things like fire drills. So that when a fire happens, hopefully the majority of us are not spinning around in a circle trying to figure out what to do, because our brains will kick in. The subconscious memory of us practicing those fire drills will help us out the door. Okay? So it's the same thing. If you're sitting around a bunch of Oscar the Grouches, grumpy grannies, if you're sitting around a bunch of Debbie Downers all the time, by default, that is what you're practicing. And y'all know I say the same thing all the time. You practice a skill, it becomes a habit, and you master it. It works both ways. It's a two-way street. So if you're practicing healthful things, right? Things that are going to help you when you need them, things that are going to allow you to make those decisions to change your life, to move your life in the direction you want to move it in. If you're practicing those things, then that's what's going to happen. But if you're not, if you practicing the other things, even if you just practicing sitting still, that's what's going to happen when you don't use your higher thought process to make a decision. Because the majority of the times when we make that split decision, it comes down from our subconscious. And so the things you practice are going to be the things that happen first. You're going to have to undo a lot of those things. And I think we've all been in a situation like that before, where you've had to undo something. So in order for us not to have to always undo, or at least be way down the rabbit hole before we realize we need to start undoing, we're going to make sure that we get some good people around us so that we can constantly be practicing happiness. Okay? Because that's what we talking about this week. We're not talking about the rest of it. Like I said, we'll have another week where we talk about that. So, get some good people around you. It don't have to be everybody around you. But like I said the other day, if you got some stuff going on and you need to call somebody to help you work through your happiness, right? To live your best happy life, don't call the grumpy granny. Don't call Oscar the Grouch or the Debbie Downer. Call a friend that's been practicing the happiness, okay? And have them be your accountability partner. Your support system. I ain't told y'all today to tag your accountability partner. So I'm going to tell you right now, since we're talking about it, tag your accountability partner. So, call that person that already knows or already in the practice of to help support you when you need to support. And it is not wrong for you to feel like you want to call the person that you need to call in the time that you need to call them. That's smart. Okay? Don't feel guilty. I know some people will feel guilty for not calling the person they think that they're supposed to call. You call the person you need to call. Okay? All right. So our last example today is moving along, except for me not being able to remember nothing I'm trying to remember. That's why I wrote the other stuff down, so I wouldn't have to remember it. And our last thing is to find a good purpose. I think we talked about this one week before. Here I am trying to remember again. Why don't y'all just somebody come pinch me? Finding a good purpose, and we talked about this yesterday. About like the definitions of happiness and people's theories of happiness and things of that nature. And like understanding that what makes life worth living, and then also the potential of situations. And so, okay, y'all, because this is silly because I got somebody creeping through the background like them old cartoons when people try to move real slow like nobody could see them. And that's exactly what's happening, but y'all can't see it. So I'm going to just pause and be like, just go on and get your stuff because it's real dramatic right now. And now they creeping back the other way. Okay, it's a whole lot and I can't focus on trying to tell y'all about finding the purpose because there's... Can you get out? Here at the TRIBEvibe, we are real, okay? I put on as much of a production as I'm going to put on. Y'all know we done been here and the baby been crying, knocking on the door. I got people creeping in and out from behind my camera. So, you know, it's real life here. I want y'all to talk to me like, you know, I'm your mother, your daddy, your brother, sister, cousin, auntie, uncle, and them. Like, I just want to have real conversations with y'all. Like, you know, shooting SHIT. This is what I do all the time. So I'm not on here trying to act like everything is perfect. And sometimes people got to creep in and out of the background, apparently. Anyway, back to the topic. So, finding a purpose. We talked about yesterday, the definitions are the kind of the theories of happiness being like what makes life worth living and like finding the potential of life. Like, you know, the moments that you're getting to the good nitty gritty, like that's happiness too. It isn't just when you get the big prize or the big shebang. It's all the moments leading up to that. And so finding a purpose is huge when you're thinking about happiness, because if you're thinking about those definitions and those theories that people have come up with on like what is really happiness for humans, like this ain't like what makes me happy. Like I said earlier, happiness is very personal. What makes me happy may not make you happy and vice versa. And we may take a poll and I might be the only person on the planet that whatever particular thing makes me happy. It'll make anybody else happy. But that's not the part that matters. What matters is that you are aware of what makes you happy so that you can continue to exercise those things, implement them more in your life. That's the beginning and the end of it. It isn't about having to be, you know, over the top with finding all these extravagant things and then thinking that's what happiness is because that's what the people on Instagram look like, or the people on the TV show that you watch, or what your family members have and society has told you is the norm. You know, it's not about any of those things. I think I didn't tell you guys about that example this week. We talked about that during gratitude. When Andy was asking the guy when we do the gratitude meditation and he asked you like, what are you happy or grateful for or whatever? And the guy was like, making my coffee in the morning. I told you guys on Tuesday, one of the things that makes me happy is just kind of being able to sit outside and chill. Like, there are very simple things. Being able to take your time. I'm one of those people. I don't know if anybody else, let me know if anybody else feels that way. Being able to take my time. I can't stand to be rushed. If I'm rushing myself, maybe. Not even then. I just don't like to be rushed. And so it makes me a little grumpy if I had to be rushed. So in order to, you know, exercise some happiness, when I can take my time, sometimes I'm just like leisurely at Target. I don't even have to ask y'all to you know, thumbs up or nothing for liking to take y'all time at Target, because I know some of y'all got that Target thing like I got that Target thing. It's a whole group of us. But just even being able to just leisurely stroll through the store and walk up and down the aisles and not worry about having to rush, I find that to make me happy. And so I make sure that I'm aware of that and that I'm like, you know, present in that when it happens. Because it don't happen all the time for me because I'm not always at the store. So anyway, that was it. So we're going to run back through them again so that you guys can make sure if you missed anything or if you need to hear something again. We'll run back through them again. All right, you ready? Okay, here we go. Speed round. First thing, stop thinking negative. I didn't say that earlier, but that's what I meant. We talked about it, but I didn't say those words. Stop thinking negative. Focus on positive. Smile. Fake it till you make it. practice gratitude. Focus on the things that you're grateful for and make sure that you're presently aware of them when they're happening. And focus on your strengths. Celebrate yourself for the things that you have accomplished or the steps that you are taking to accomplish a goal. Meditate. So you're here with me, so you're doing that. Yay! You did it! Come back next week and a week after that and bring your accountability partner. Tell your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your auntie, and your uncle and them. Okay. Journal about the things that make you happy, or at least tell somebody or sit down with yourself and reflect over the things that make you happy on a consistent basis. Exercise. I don't practice that myself. I need to do better. Good friends. Keep good people around you. And then find your purpose. And when you find your purpose, focus on the purpose. And if the purpose change, allow yourself to change it. That's another week's worth of topics. But, because we want to make sure that we're aware of the fact that finding our purpose and working towards that purpose and living in that purpose, walking in that purpose is what happiness is. That's what it is. Just being able to find your purpose is what happiness is. All right, y'all. Okay. Was that good? Was that good stuff today? Was it simple? Everybody understood what we was talking about? All right. I'll throw that. Okay, my loves. That was it. So we're about to get into meditation. We're going to do Netflix Headspace Guide to Meditation. We're going to do that today. We're going to listen to the episode, the episode with the gratitude meditation. Andy going to get on here and tell us to focus on something we happy for. And, this is an opportunity for us to practice kind of some of what we were saying earlier today, to practice those things I've been asking y'all to do from yesterday, the things I've been asking you to do from Tuesday, which was find something creative. So if you haven't done that yet this week, I'm challenging you again to be a little more creative about what it is that you're focusing on when you're thinking about what you're grateful for, what makes you happy. Don't you say them kids, don't you say that job, don't you say the car, the house. You find something silly like going outside and being outside, or listening to your music in the shower, or drinking your cup of coffee. You find something really little like that you do on a regular basis that you can make sure that you're aware makes you happy. Okay? I think you know all them other things. So we trying to do some work while we on here today. So we trying to get into some good stuff. So I need you to challenge yourself to find something else. Okay? If you don't have it now, you got plenty of time to think about it when Andy's talking. All right. So get comfortable. Sit down, stand up. Them two things just go together. Sit down, lay down. Just make sure your back and your neck are straight. Try to limit your distractions. If you got some distractions that you can't limit, that's okay. Acknowledge the distraction and come back to the meditation when you can. Okay? Also, you can't do meditation wrong. And I say to y'all periodically, I'm going to say this all the time because I want to make sure that we have any new people, or if anybody forgot, because we like to forget stuff, I'm reminding you that you are here and that's the only part that matters. If you feel all wonky and funny, that's okay. Stick with it. It gets easier as you practice. Because y'all know what happens. You practice, you make it a habit, then you master it, right? So it'll get easier, but you just got to stick with it. So if you feel a little uncomfortable, that's okay. If you got to blow your nose, get up and do that. If you got to itch your ear, do that. Don't feel like you got to sit there, and be stone-faced for the whole 15 minutes or however long he's talking. Okay. PSAs are done. One more PSA. Two more. If you haven't tagged your accountability partner already, go tag your accountability partner. And then PSA number 2, I want you to remember to like, share, follow, subscribe. If I forgot any of the words you're supposed to use. All of our social media is all Black Amethyst Naturals. Our website's blackamethystnaturals.com. Oh, we're having a Juneteenth sale, and I forgot to tell y'all about that. We're having a Juneteenth sale starting on Juneteenth, which is June 19th, if you don't know. I talked about Juneteenth earlier today. I forgot to tell y'all what's a sale. We're having a Juneteenth sale on blackamethystnaturals.com where you can buy a lot of Juneteenth apparel. You can buy a lot of our For the Culture collection apparel. We got some other stuff. You can buy some Black Amethyst apparel if you want to wear some Black Amethyst on your shirt. Go ahead and be a walking billboard. I ain't mad at you, sis or bruh. And then we got new shipping rates. So you'll see that when you get on there. And then it'll be a nice little discount, but you won't find out what it is until the 19th. So you gotta wait. So don't forget to do that on Juneteenth. Sale will be running for a while. I'm not gonna be like, oh, y'all gotta buy stuff this weekend. It's not gonna be that. It'll be running for a while. So don't get on there too late because it ain't gonna probably run past a week. All right. See, I get to make all the decisions. I don't got none of that ironed out because I was gonna iron it out earlier, and then I decided to stop what I was doing. I'm giving you too much information. I'm gonna finish the story though. Decided to stop what I was doing and eat something because I was hungry. And then after I did that, then I got on here with y'all. So I ain't finished. But anyway, I'm gonna decide the sale is probably going for about a week. That's what's in my head. So get on there between now and a week from now so that you can make sure you get your discount and get your Juneteenth stuff so you could be on and popping. Get your Black Amethyst stuff so you could be suited and booted. All right, anyway. I'm done with the PSAs. Y'all ready to meditate? All right, let's go. Let me pull up Andy. Where you at, Andy? All right, hold on. Andy's loading. Where is he at? Nope. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Andy done jumped all the way to a whole nother spot.
Right now, all you need to do is to begin with your eyes
open.
All right,
there we go.
A nice soft focus, just aware of the space around you. And just maintaining that soft focus with the eyes, just taking a couple of big deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So as you breathe in through the nose, just a sense of the lungs expanding, the body filling with air. As you breathe out, just noticing how the muscles in the body begin to soften as you exhale. And just one more time, breathing in through the nose. And as you breathe out this time, just gently closing the eyes if you'd like to, and just allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And just take a moment before you do anything else, just to appreciate that feeling of having stopped, of having nowhere to go, nothing to do. Feeling the weight of the body pressing down into the seat or the floor below you. Perhaps noticing any sounds around you. And rather than resisting them, just allowing the sounds, the thoughts to come and go. And just use this opportunity as well, just to notice how the body feels. So whether the body feels heavy or light. And whether there's a sense of stillness or restlessness in the body right now. And as you begin to notice those different feelings, sensations in the body, just starting to notice the movement of the breath, a rising and falling sensation. So as always, begin in a very general way, just noticing where in the body you feel that movement. Whether it's in the chest, diaphragm, the stomach. Doesn't matter where you feel it. Don't need to breathe in any special way. But if you can't feel that movement at all, just gently placing your hand on your stomach. And we're just going to stay with that rising and falling sensation. Just as the body and mind begin to settle. natural for the mind to wander. Just noticing the wandering and gently coming back to the breath. And you can use your breath throughout today's exercise as that place to come back to if the mind wanders off. Now, in having settled the mind a little, we're going to ask that question. Who or what do you appreciate most in your life right now? So ask yourself that question in the exact same way as though you're asking somebody else. And just notice what comes to the surface. Without any expectation, without any judgment, without any hurry, just allowing that feeling to emerge. Now, if no particular feeling comes up, that's fine, it's natural. Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. If there's an obvious feeling, just allowing that feeling to remain. Just resting in that feeling of gratitude. If there was no clear feeling, just gently asking that same question again. And just creating that space. Again, we're not thinking about what comes to the mind. We're not judging it, analysing it. We're just creating the space. And then if there is a feeling, just allowing ourselves to stay with that feeling of appreciation. And then allowing that feeling to remain, just beginning to bring the attention back into the body, back to that feeling of weight and contact. Back to any sounds around you. And whenever you feel ready, you can just gently open the eyes.
Alright, how does everybody feel? Tongue-tied today. Alright, so my loves, that was our week on happiness. I hope that you guys got something out of it. You know, I hope that every week, because I'm not on here just blowing hot air. I'm really hoping that you guys are getting some stuff out of it. So, next week, I said we were going to talk about resilience. So we're going to talk about resilience. So I am going to get some good stuff on that, and we may just kind of shoot the stuff. We may just chit chat a little bit about it on one of the days, because it's one of those things where it may not be a whole lot of textbook information on it, but you know, some life experiences is you know, that's a textbook worth of stuff right there, having a life experience about, you know, the challenges of resilience and things of that nature. So next week will be interesting. We'll see where it goes and where it takes us, because this is a little off the beaten path for me. Normally I give you guys something that I know I can start off one day, give me an example from my life. Next day, we could talk about definitions and studies of. And the third day, we could talk about tips and tricks on how to. So I'm not sure if we'll find that same information with resilience, but if not, I'm going to find something to talk about. So, all right, my loves, I will see you next week. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. It ain't daytime no more. Rest of your evening, a great weekend, a great Monday, and I'll see you on Tuesday at 7 o'clock live on the TRIBEvibe. Hopefully, I'll be back to all of my studio equipment so that I will be able to have everybody live at the same time. We won't have to do all of this rigmarole I've been having to do this week. But if not, we'll be live on Instagram because that's the place I have to go live because they're stingy. I don't have that's all the words I have for Instagram. They're stingy and they want me to go live here. But anyway, so I'll see you guys next week. I love you. Have a great evening. Self-love is the best love. All right, bye.